welcome to another House of Wisdom knife review, and today we're going to be reviewing the Quiet Carry Drift. This knife was at Blade Show West voted the 2019 best EDC knife, so it sparked my interest and I had to get one, and now I'm going to be reviewing it for you. Quiet Carry is a company based out of Anaheim, California, which specializes in producing EDC items, mostly knives, although they have produced a pry bar and some other sundries. The specifications of the knife include a blade length, which is 2.98 inches long, and a handle length of 3.94 inches long. The total knife length is 6.94 inches long, and the weight is 2.6 ounces. We have some other knives for comparison. Firstly, we have a Spyderco Para 3. The Para 3 is similar in blade length, but has a handle which is a little longer. And then there's the Hinder XM18 3-inch. Again, the blade length is comparable, the handle is a little longer. And the most similar is probably the Chris Reeves Sebenza, which is pretty much the same size. For the blade steel, the Drift has the Van Axe, there you can see it, the Van Axe Super Clean, and it is Quiet Carry's version of a rust-resistant blade. Spyderco also has a rust-resistant steel. It uses the H1 for its salt series. Here you have the Ladybug. So there are different rust-resistant steels you can use. Quiet Carry uses the Van Axe, which is a high-end material, by the way. The blade has a high flat ground. You can see it's almost completely flat ground, except at the very top there's a little bit of flats. The heat treat is done by Peters Heat Treat, which gives it a 61 HRC hardness. The blade stock is fortunately very thin. It has 91,000th thickness, which is very thin. And this blade has a forward finger choil. You can hold it in a conventional manner, and it has a good 4-finger grip, or you can move forward to the finger choil. There is some jimping on the slightly crowned spine, which gives you good purchase. The method of deployment of the knife is by a semicircular thumb hole. I want to compare this with the Tashi Barusha. Tashi Barusha also has a semicircular thumb hole on the Baby Machine and the Church and a variety of other knives he's designed. So it rolls out best. It's on washers, and it doesn't have a drop-free action. You have to kind of push it down. You can flick it if you use your wrist a bit, but basically this is a roll-out washer knife that is just easy to use that way. The handle on this knife is made of 6AL4V titanium with chamfered edges. You can see the chamfers here. It has internal milling to lighten the knife. I'll see if I can demonstrate that. Well, maybe not. You have to take my word for it. It comes in a variety of options. It comes in plain stone-washed, plain satin, comes in a knurled version. It has a PVD-coated version, which is also knurled. And I use the orange Cerakoted version. As you can tell, it's knurled on the show side, and then it's flat on the clip side. I enjoyed the Cerakoted version because I thought, whenever you have an orange knife, I'll take the Spyderco 3, for example. If they want any color in the knife, they tend to go to G10, but why not Cerakote titanium? Wow, that's hard and it's nice and it gives you some color. And this is great if you were working in woods or in the forest and you dropped it on the forest floor. You could easily see it, and yet it's a little bit sturdier than G10. The back spacer, it has a small back spacer, and the lanyard hole is integrated, but note it's just on the clip side, and on the show side it's completely great without any holes. And there are other manufacturers who have done this. I wanted to point out one of my favorite manufacturers, Shirogorov. Here you have the little Shirogorov bear there, and it has its lanyard hole on one side. It chose to use the show side rather than the clip side. Of course, the clip side, they have the clip there, which is why they couldn't put it all the way through, because it would run into the clip. And so that's the way they got around it. However, I like this even better because its show side is completely sterile and doesn't show the lanyard hole. And the Shirogorov's has a lanyard hole on the show side. So I like this better as far as the design, even than more than the Sherogorov. The pivot on this knife is a phosphor bronze washers. It is not free spinning because there's an internal shelf to prevent the spinning. If you take this screw out, you'll see a little shelf there, so it's a captive pivot, and I like that. The lock on the knife is a frame lock with a ceramic detent. You can tell here the lockup is about, 1/3 to 1/2 the distance of the blade tang. It has a lock bar insert with an integrated over travel stop. Its frame lock release is a little bit lower, you can tell there on the show side, so that you can access and release it. There have been some criticism about that it may not be low enough, and there are other knife makers who make it a little lower. You can tell the Crest Reeve, your frame side is a lot lower, so it's really easy to access that lock bar. This is the small Sabenza, and then on the small Nkosi, it's the same. It has a much lower, so it's really easy to get in and unlock that. So you do have to get your finger in there a little bit. It doesn't bother me that much, though. The pocket clip is a wire loop over deep carry clip. It's right hand tip up only, and that keeps the show side looking really nice. The ergonomics on this knife are really great, either in the regular posture or the forward finger choil use. The ergonomics are super. So what are my impressions about the Quiet Carry Drift knife? Really, this is a well-made knife. It's just not the knife for me. For one thing, it's a design choice, and it is the semicircular thumb hole. And if you use it at the back part of the thumb hole, you can roll it out, maybe not in one motion, but you can roll it out. But if you try to flick it, it kind of hurts your thumb a little bit. I much more appreciate a round thumb hole like the Spyderco does, which you put your thumb there and you flick it at about a 45 degree angle to get it going best. It equally distributes the force on your thumb and it doesn't hurt your thumb as much. Whereas this, you come to a point there and it kind of pinches the tip of your thumb to get it out. And you can get it out, it's just a little more uncomfortable. And it's not something that you would want to do all day or you'd get a sore tip of your thumb. Also, something I want to point out, and this is a design choice, is that they use titanium for the hardware, and that's great because titanium doesn't rust, but you just have to realize that your screws are going to be a little softer and you need to take extra caution not to strip them out. And the biggest thing, I guess, that's a disappointment to me is the action. I handed this to one of my teenage sons, who they always play with the knife, and had him open it, and he said, "Don't like it," and he handed it right back because all they care about is the action. They don't care about the steels and stuff. They just want to use it as a fidget toy. And this is a little bit difficult. Opening it, yes, you can open it with a flick if you use your wrist a little bit, but for a knife guy, that's kind of like kissing your sister. Technically, it is a kiss, but it's not really what you're looking for. This would not be a fidget toy for you. So what do I like about this knife? And really, I don't want to rag on this knife too much because I really do like it, despite its design choices. The knife is pretty much rust-proof. It uses Vanax steel, which is very corrosion resistant for the blade. It has titanium hardware. And even on the lock bar insert, it uses LC200N steel, which is very corrosion resistant also. Nothing on this knife rusts. And if you are a fisherman or live by the ocean, this would be a great knife for you. And the size is great. It has a little shy of a 3-inch blade and a little shy of a 4-inch handle. It's a great EDC size, fits well in the hand. And I like it that it's colored. It uses an orange Cerakote as one of the options you can get. Most knife makers, you can get any color of Cerakote or PVD as long as it's black, but they used a colored Cerakote on this one, so I appreciate that option. And I like the blade. And really, what is a knife about but the blade? It's to cut things. It has an exquisitely thin stock at 91 thousandths, so it is a great slicer. And I'm going to cut away for a little bit of slicing here so you can appreciate the joy you get with the sharpness of this knife. Concerning the clip, I like it. Loop over wire clips are my favorite. Spyderco uses them, other makers use them too, but they're not the fanciest, but they are the most functional. And I like the pivot that it's shelved, and it makes it a captive pivot so that you can open it with only one Torx pick on the clip side. I like it that Quiet Carry used quality materials. It has Vanax steel, show you the Vanax there, and titanium handle scales. They used a color Cerakote. Everything about this knife yells quality. This knife is for someone who wants a great slicer and a rust-proof knife in a great EDC size. And concerning the slicing ability, isn't that what we buy knives for? This is the knife if you like that. And if you enjoy opening your knife with a third finger flick technique and work around water, this could be the knife for you. There is a reason it was named the best EDC of 2019. Well, that's the review for today. In the comments section, let me know what you think about the Quiet Carry Drift. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next House of Wisdom knife review video.